Have you ever felt like your retriever might not turn out like you hoped for it to? We get it. The truth is, training a retriever isn't simple, but it doesn't have to be hard. On the Build From Here podcast, you're going to hear real stories from real people who used to be stuck with their retrievers, but are now confident they're on the right path to training their dog successfully.
Welcome to the Built From Here podcast. On this episode, it is my great honor to be introducing you to CGA member Zach Sandnop. He's actually a Cornerstone ambassador as well, and Zach has been with us for quite some time. We were just talking before we hit record here about him and his journey and one of the original member weekends, and it's been incredible to see Zach's growth as not just a handler, but a leader throughout this journey. You know, I remember the very first weekend with Zach and Ted. Ted was a young little golden, wasn't even fully grown yet. And I just remember the questions that Zach was asking. Zach has this passion and this fire for training these dogs. Like, you could tell he was hungry. He wanted to make this amazing. And the next member weekend when he came back, I was blown away. I was like, wow, the jump from where you were with Ted here to that next one was incredible. And then obviously it's been just an amazing jump every single time from there. Zach has also spent a lot of time really investing just in the retriever world as a whole himself with his dog. Like, it's amazing. We'll get into all the details of that as we go, but it is a great honor to have him here. He also, let me just say this, he's a chapter leader as well, helps with the St. Louis chapter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So just heavily involved, an amazing model Cornerstone member. And I told him, I was like, I can't believe we haven't had you on the podcast up until now. So I'm really glad to have him on. And guys, I just want to introduce you to Mr. Zach. Welcome aboard, Zach. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so honored to be on here today.
Yeah, man, it's our honor to have you. It's like I said, it's been an amazing journey. I'm excited to kind of dive into that journey and recount it, and maybe even hear some details that I don't even know yet. That said, let's dive in, man. Let's a little bit about you. Where'd you grow up? Yeah, what do you do for work? Just let the world know who Mr. Zach is.
So I have a kind of an interesting story. So I grew up originally in Los Angeles, California. So I lived there for the first 12, 13 years of my life. My parents were from here in St. Louis. Moved out there. My dad worked in the film industry for a number of years, a location manager, location scout. But it was one of those things, the kids were growing up. It was kind of time to move back to St. Louis. So I was the surfer boy living in the Midwest. It was a little bit of a culture shock.
Really? No way. So you did a lot. So how much surfing did you do when you were young? Is that what you do out there? Or what do you do as a 10-year-old in California?
I'd go to the beach. I was just outside all day, riding my bike, just being
That's nice.
a hooligan, just playing outside. It was the best way to describe it. So I moved to Missouri, and I learned what humidity was for the first time, that you don't just spend all day out in the summer. And the big thing in the Midwest, especially Missouri, was hunting. Everybody was talking about deer hunting and like doing all these like 4-wheeler rides and stuff like that. I was like, well, what's this? Like, I would ride my bike, I'd go to the beach, I'd go to the park and do jungle gym stuff, but like, what? So I just got immersed in the outdoor culture in Missouri. Had a fishing pole, but go to the creeks and stuff around people's houses and wet a line. But like, we didn't really catch much, but it was just the adventure of being outdoors. But through there, I always wanted a dog. In Los Angeles, we lived in an apartment, so there wasn't many dogs, but walking around, riding my bike, I'd always see dogs. And I was like, I want a dog. It was just like innate passion. Like, I want that.
Wow.
So you'd see golden retrievers out and about, and I was like, let's look happy dogs. I want one of them. So every time I see one, I'd stop and pet. So just from a young age, I loved golden retrievers. They were just like that iconic dog that I always wanted. So going through life, years later, graduated college, met my wife. We moved in together after college, and I still wanted a dog. A house isn't a home without a dog.
Amen.
I guess to back up just a little bit though, when we moved to Missouri, we bought a house, and I was finally able to get a dog. So we waited a few months and went to Humane Society and got this little black lab. Can't believe I almost forgot to tell the story of my first dog, Simba. He was a black lab
Simba.
named Simba. I don't know
Nice.
why we named him Simba. I don't think there could have been a better dog for a group of teenage boys. This little dog they called him a lab mix. I think he was probably 100% lab or had a slight component of something else. I'm guessing the Bayside got him from a farm in mid-Missouri and they took him in. And he was just the typical wild young lab. My mom will probably still tell stories of him chewing up shoes, wanting to get rid of him for the first 2 years, but he just stuck to me and stuck to my brothers like labs do. He just was
Wow.
all over us. I didn't know what dog training was. Sit, stay, shake, go lay down. We taught him the basic commands, and he was just the quintessential American dog. He just kind of got old and gray and would just follow us around. And he was the most calm, peaceful dog later in life. Loved to death. We lost him in 2020. But that was the dog that I think changed it. There was like, you got to have a dog in your life. A house is not home without a dog. So Simba was that first dog. If you would close your eyes and visualize a black lab with just a gray face across his like muzzle and his eyes, that was Simba. Like he was picture perfect. I love that dog to death. And he was so calm once he turned like 3. Before that, he was a cannonball, but my mom has stories about that for another time. So I met my wife, college, post-college, and then similar thing. We moved into an apartment together. We could have a dog, and we got another rescue. We named Reagan. She was this little brown lab mix. They said, okay, we got a chocolate lab mix. The pull there was my wife grew up with labs. Her dad had a yellow lab and a chocolate lab. So I was like, oh, we're going to get another lab. Is that cool? So I think that kind of sucked her. Like, yeah, we could get a chocolate lab.
Strategy, man. It's all about the strategy.
Absolutely. Like, again, a house isn't a home without a dog.
That's right.
So then Reagan just started growing and then just stopped at like 45 pounds. Like, that's not a lab. And she's a little more round than a lab. Just the build was all wrong. She's a complete mutt. Sweet as can be. And she was the love of our life. It's a perfect little dog for post-college kids. Calm, would lay around, eat her food, be happy to see you, and kind of be independent again. Perfect. And then me and Catherine got married in 2019, June. Had a great wedding, took a great honeymoon. We bought a house in November. And then as we bought a house, she said, all right, fine. You can get another dog. You can get your golden. I don't say it was like a late wedding present, but like, I think she knew since I met her, I wanted a golden retriever. They're a little more expensive. So I'm sure like, you're not going to just go willy-nilly buy one. So finally she's like, okay, fine. We got the house. You can get a second dog and get your golden. So we bought our house in November. I'm talking 3-4 weeks later, I'm on Google. Where do you buy a golden retriever? I don't know. I learned that there was a difference between a field and a show line. So, Google.com. What shows up but a Tony Peterson article from Gun Dog Magazine. I was like, oh, this is a reputable source, Gun Dog Magazine. All right. And the article name was How to Pick the Perfect Golden Retriever. What more could I want? Step-by-step instructions on how to pick a perfect golden retriever. So he lists out through there the history of golden retrievers, Lower Tweedmouth in Scotland, this and that. And he starts mentioning like some of the top golden retriever lines in America being like 80 years old. So follow that down Google and realize I cannot afford one of those dogs. But then there's a little article in there, a little blurb in there about Teresa Beleva, Platte River Retrievers in Freeman, Nebraska. And I was like, oh, okay. Let me look them up. Oh, just says in there, family run, golden retriever breeding, 20 years success, this whole story. I was like, okay. So I sent an email and Teresa's like, oh, give me a call. Let me know what you're looking for. So I give her a call and got my guard up thinking I need to convince her I am worthy of a dog. And she's like, oh yeah. So what you looking for? It's like, oh, a golden retriever. I'm active. I hike. I go fishing. Oh, I want to learn to hunt. I want to do all this stuff. She's like, all right. I got 2 litters coming soon. I'm still guarded up. Okay. Do I need to apply? How do I do this? She's like, oh no. Give me a call in 2 weeks. I have 2 litters available. Do you want a boy or a girl? She was so casual about it. Sweet as can be. I was like, I think I want a boy. She's like, okay, those are usually available. So I called her back about 2 weeks later, still like guard up. Okay. So I should have male dog. She's like, yeah. So, I got 4 in this litter, 2 in that litter. What are you thinking? I'm like, I'll let you choose. Am I able to choose? Do you choose? She's like, um, puppy pickup's going to be on March 8th. Come by and I should have some boys of both available. Just, let me know, when you arrive and I'll, introduce you to them and you can pick your dog. And I was like, whoa, I get to
Wow.
pick my own dog. So then that down the rabbit hole of reading, like, don't pick the first dog. Don't pick the runt, pick this dog, all the strategy. Well, that went out the window as soon as I walked in and saw all these dogs. They're running around in their pen. Teresa gets out like a goose feather and shows me like their birdie. And the whole time from when they were born until I picked them up, like she had a group chat going of little puppy updates, everything that's going on. So I was like, okay, I think I want that one. No, it's that one. Okay, that one's gone. It's blue collar, green collar. So then they're all running around and one kind of chasing the feather. Then one comes to me and just kind of like looks up. And I'm like, hey, little buddy. And I just hold him and he just kind of puts his head on me. And then he's just like wagging his tail, happy as can be. I go, well, I think he picks me. So that was my dog. Dark blue collar.
Wow. Wow.
So that was an 8-hour drive for us from St. Louis to Freeman, Nebraska. I was willing to drive it. I didn't care. We made a weekend out of it. We stopped in Kansas City on the way up, ate some barbecue, drove a couple more hours,
Nice.
spent the night. And then that Sunday when I picked him up, we drove all the way home. So for the 8 hours home in the front seat of a pickup truck, I lifted up the center console and he just laid in my lap. My wife looked at me
Wow.
like, I thought he was our dog. And I was like, I think he likes me more now. So he just snuggled like tightly on my lap as I'm driving across Highway 70 in Missouri. And he's just laying on me. And I was like, all right, I picked the right one. This is something. I don't know if all dogs are like this or what, but all right, we're gonna have some fun here. So that was March 8th of 2020. We didn't know what the heck was about to happen.
Wow. March 8th. Wow.
So there was 1 week where I would go home at lunch. My wife went home at lunch to let him out, do our potty breaks. My mother-in-law came over with one of her friends to show off the puppy and let him out once. Of course, that was the one day he had a big accident in his crate. So she got to give him a bath in the kitchen sink. And then the following week, my wife, being a teacher, had her spring break. So she was home. Before she left, there was like kind of rumors like, hey, be prepared not to come back after spring break. All the teachers were like, what are you talking about? So they prepared. And then on spring break, they said, we're shutting down the schools. So she was home with Ted
Wow.
for, I think, 3 or 4 more weeks. Then I got the stay-at-home order from my work. So more or less from April to September of 2020, it was me and Ted working and then going out and playing.
That's the good old days right there. It was rough times, but there was also some good moments in it.
Yeah,
too.
looking back, I don't think I could have been any more lucky to, like, in the living room, I set up the little puppy playpen, little hexagonal thing, put some gym mats on the floor, put a blanket, put some toys, whatever. And he would get up and play. Then he'd lay down and nap. Then I'd work. Then we'd go outside, work on heel work. We'd walk on the leash, 5-10 minutes, put him back in. He'd nap. I'd do some more work. I'd take calls. Then we'd go play with again. That cadence and that sequence was what built the bond. Just
Wow.
being together all the time, having fun, those foundational things, you don't need long sessions for. You just need 5 or 10 minutes. Do it 5 times a day. Healing is great. Sitting, great. Just building all of those cadences in the initial couple months was, I don't know how I got so lucky to do that. I don't think lightning strikes twice. But that was fun. September, I
Wow.
returned to work. So he was, I don't know, 7, 8 months old. And then kind of had our foundations down. Then we're kind of off to the races. So being born in January, the first hunting season in November, a lot of people would be like gung-ho to go hunt him. I said, yeah, he's not ready. I'm not ready. I don't even know what the heck I'm doing. I barely even was a duck hunter at that point. What got me in duck hunting was my wife's dad was a duck hunter. So early on, I would ask questions and seem interested, just to kind of show some interest in the family and his hobbies too. And it took probably a year or two of us being together until he finally invited me out on a duck hunt with him. They have some acreage in mid-Missouri with a couple lakes on there. They're all clay pit mines. So you get a lot of divers, you'll get geese, you'll get mallards when the time is right. So he had a blind set up there, and he'd go out there as much as he could and hunt ducks and everything. So finally I got the invite, and I was like, all right, I'm in. And seeing his dogs work, and I was like, okay, they're what most we consider to be, a very good duck dog, got some basic skills, go retrieve, bring it back, call it a day. Could they sit to a whistle? I don't know. It wasn't necessary. So I thought, yeah, dog picks up ducks, brings it in. That's a good duck dog. But as I started diving in, week by week, I realized, no, Ted's going to be a good dog. We're going to follow this program all the way through. So I didn't hunt him that first season. We just worked on our obedience, our skills. I don't even know if I was even through a lot of like the retriever portions yet. A lot of people thought I was crazy for that. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know any different. I'm going to just follow the complete academy, work my way through. And week by week, he just kept improving. I loved it. Like, it was such a seamless program for us. I didn't have to reach out for help. If there was a question, I would kind of rework it in my mind and then try a different drill. And it usually just kept taking with him. I think a lot of that success, I've kind of mentioned this to you before, was I kind of went academic when it came to his training. I had like a notebook where I'd watch the videos, I would draw it out like a stick person for me. I'd have like an arrow and like a dog figure. Okay, so lining is here. Lining is there. The T pattern. When we got to whistle stops, like I had like it all drawn out, like what I'm looking for, what the success criteria is, what the failure criteria is, like in the columns. And I, page by page, I had stuff so drawn out that in the afternoons, my wife would be watching TV and I'd be at the coffee table watching videos, and she'd hear that CJ jingle, and she'd be like, "Oh, going back to school tonight, huh?" I go, "Yep, we are." And then it was to the point where every time Ted would hear that jingle, he'd pop up from the couch and come running over. And I was like, "We're just watching the videos, man. We're not training yet." And then it was just a lot of small training sessions that just added up over time. I'd get home from work, pick up Ted, get him in the truck, and head over to the soccer field by our house. We have a little park that's kind of a mixed use soccer field, baseball field, where we'd go train for 20, 30 minutes. I'd come home, we'd have dinner, and maybe I'd work in the backyard, or we just call it a day. But it was daily training, just 3-4 days a week, 20, 30 minutes, just building on those skills for the backyard skills. And I'm lucky that there's a pretty large state conservation area that's about 20 minutes from our house, bush wildlife, that I would go there and set up some most extreme stuff you could think of, just not knowing any better. Then Ted would either pass or fail, and we'd adjust it as we go. I later learned that I was kind of a madman for some of these setups, that people logically would not run over 2 hills or do some crazy water work, but I literally did not know any better when I started this journey. So people
That's
wonder,
awesome.
like, why does Ted go over 2 points? Why is he, not like just taking a straight line across a hill? I don't know. I just did it. Why are you training at 80 yards on a water blind when he's, 8 months old? I don't know. That's just where I thought a good place to hide a bumper would be. I approached everything just like so naively. Blinds, I literally called hide and seek for the longest time. Oh yeah, we're going to play hide and seek on this bumper. All right. I'm going to hide it underneath that bush. Way over there. All right. So, and then we just
That's
continued
awesome, man.
just to become best friends. The greatest thing I did with him is just take him everywhere from a young age. So during COVID, like, there wasn't many places. So I was kind of had to be really intentional about taking him out to Home Depot, to the Farm and Home store by me, going to the parks, because during COVID, everybody still want to go outside. But when we'd be out there, it was like obedience session mixed with socialization. So he had to learn the socialization with tight obedience, because that was the only time to be outside. So that developed this like really well-rounded dog who enjoyed being with people, but understood that meeting people and socializing had to have like a really tight rules about it. No jumping, no whining. If you sit at heel, you walk with me. We can ignore people all day long if you want. That there's been times where people are like, is that a service dog? Or they'll give me a look from across the way, like, because he heels tight with me, he takes tight turns. Like, I was really diligent early on about obedience and healing and just being just a good dog that I wanted to take everywhere. Um, he
Man,
is exactly that. Like, I take him everywhere because he can be, and he just blends in. A lot of people just look past him now because he's so focused on me and what we're doing.
man, that's wonderful. It's nice that to have that level of obedience. A lot of people can't do that, and unfortunately. But when you have a dog that listens and actually, I think you said it really well. He just kind of blended in. He didn't stand out. Like that's what you're looking for. You want this dog that just blends in. It's part of the environment. That's pretty unique to have a dog like that, especially with tight heel work and not pulling on
Hmm.
the leash, stopping when you stop, sitting
Hmm.
when you sit. One question I have for you is kind of going back a little bit. When, how did you I guess, decide you were going to train a dog yourself? Was this something you planned from the beginning? Where did that um, whole idea come in for you?
Yeah, that's something I haven't thought about. Um, I think it may have been that like my father-in-law trained all his own dogs. So my wife's eyes, she
Nice.
was like, "You can train a dog," and I was like, "Well, I don't really know what I'm doing." Um, and I think I first heard about Cornerstone Gun Dog through like the HP Outdoors podcast, and taking an 8-week-old puppy to a finished gun dog. I was like, "Well, that's what I want to do. That sounds good." Um, so I signed up for the introductory course, and I was like, "Oh, I think I can do this." So again, I made a business proposition almost to my wife, like, so I can send him off for a couple months to a trainer, or for around the same price, I can buy this program that I have for a lifetime. It's gonna be a full year of training. I got it all laid out. She's like, yeah, then just do it yourself. And I was like, okay, well, there might be a little time associated with it. She's like, okay, like if that's what you want to do, like, then do it. All right.
Nice.
So I was very diligent. Like I said, like if I was going to do it, I was going to do it right. Follow the program week by week, module by module, not knowing what an orange versus a white bumper was. There was times I would throw an orange bumper and I'd be like, it's right there. What are you doing? Oh yeah. So dogs can't see orange. Like I was that green of a dog trainer that I just didn't know the
Wow.
difference.
You still had the passion for it though. You were
Oh yeah.
fired up about it.
Oh yeah.
Let's go every
Yeah.
day.
Absolutely. Because he had the passion. He was looking at me. So like if I would be
Yeah.
loading stuff in my car, the passenger seat open or something, like putting my whistles in the front seat, he'd run out, hop in the car, like poke his head out, like, where are we going, Dad? We going? All right. He kept me honest. I'll say that.
Man, that's amazing to just jumping in. I think some of that's just that passion, that excitement. A lot of people question whether they can do it or not. Was there any question in the back of your mind if you could, or is more of you aren't thinking about that? You're like, I think I can do this. Let's just see what happens, type of thing.
I think you just had to trust the process.
Yeah.
I got the right breeding. I researched it. I talked to Teresa. She's like, yep, both parents hunt. They're hunt trained. Her son hunts with their line of dogs. So I knew like it was capable of that. Through the whole process, I figured I was the weak link. Like, could I train him? Do I understand well enough what needs to be done? Um, but as far as did I trust the process? Do I believe he could do it? I don't think I even thought that far ahead. I said,
Just in the moment. Nice.
yeah, if
That's the way to
I
live.
just follow it, if I follow the right steps, why wouldn't he be able to do it?
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow. Something that you've said that I think has served you really well, and we talked about this when you originally sent in your story, and that was that academic approach. Like you didn't just watch the video one time and just do it. Like you actually really paid attention. I think you said you might have watched the videos a couple of times.
Yeah.
Each one, and you were really paying attention to those details, and that tends to serve you well. It doesn't seem like you had many challenges along the way. I would say probably because you were just such a good student. You really just dove in and developed yourself first.
Yeah.
And then that natural outcome is, well, the dog and the training's going to go better.
Correct. If you train the trainer, if I knew what was expected of me to serve him, then he could succeed. So I'd watch the videos multiple times. Like I said, I was like taking notes, like drawing pictures about what needed to be done so that when I got out to the field, I just had like a single sheet to reference. I know you can watch the videos in the field, but I'm like, I don't need to take 5 minutes away when I'm already sitting there set up. What am I doing here? Got all my notes. This is what we're going to do. If he was struggling with a concept like whistle sits for the longest time, like he was just like walking or just drifting around, I was like, okay, what am I not explaining well enough? What needs to be done here? Casting. Like the mannerisms of like how to cast a dog was important. So I like look at the video. Okay, looking back to myself, like, okay, what am I relaying? What kind of message is he getting and how am I presenting it? Okay, let's reframe this. Let's reframe the lesson. Let's reframe the activity. All right, let's find success doing something slightly different. Build on that and get back to the main goal, whatever it was, whether it was whistle sits, whether it was lining, casting. So I kind of have to alter it once I understood what the lesson was. I
Yeah.
think that what was due to just those notes I took or just understanding the concept first.
That's good, man. Yeah, being a good student. And one thing that you said too, just use the original Complete Gun Dog, which is the module series. Let's talk about that, man. Your experience, because we've seen a lot of people do really well with that too. A lot of the interviews we do are with people using 52 plus, but we've got a whole I don't even know if people even know, but we got a whole module series. It's amazing.
Yes.
It can give you amazing results.
Yes.
I would love to just hear about that experience for you and all that.
Yeah. So when I signed up, I think it was there was a crossover. Like you had the Complete Gun Dog and you had 52 plus available. So I was like, well, I could do the Complete Gun Dog. I just skills-based, module-based, early retrieving, early obedience, advanced retrieving and obedience. So it was just kind of a skills and module base. So I was like, all right, what are we doing today? We're going to work on healing. This is how we heal. This is what you do to teach your dog to heal. It's like, okay. So I just kind of progressed through those modules kind of seamlessly. They all flow together so well that it just seemed so well laid out in the module series that you just had as your advanced obedience was coming up, your basic retriever was coming up, when you had your advanced obedience, basic retrieving. So you kind of built your obedience and your retrieving skills together. As you master one, you had beginning of another, and that synchrony was awesome. I loved it. Knowing that this is the skills, this is the module you're doing, this is what we're teaching. And it kind of gave me a little bit more of an open-ended approach to gear it towards Ted and the dog, like being the dog in front of me. So it was kind of for me to assume and make that lesson plan and make those adjustments as I needed with my dog. So I loved it.
That's awesome, man. And it seems like y'all had a great experience with that. Was there any challenges along the way? Just that, any roadblocks you hit, or was Ted do pretty good along the way?
Ted did great. I'll always say that. And I think a lot of it came down to me. So we can jump ahead to the first members weekend, 2021. You mentioned that we were green as a puppy, green me as a handler. And we were probably struggling or I was towing the line with fetch, hold, and release. It's a common issue a lot of people have. And it was a confidence for me because you hear about people paying to get their dog force fetched or, oh, you got to do it right or you're going to miss the opportunity. You can mess up a dog. So I was timid. Like, okay, if I don't do this right, he's never going to hold a bird right. I don't think you could be more wrong. You have so many opportunities. And I was kind of timid to present the bumper to Ted and everything. So it might have been raining at that first members weekend in 21. You had a bunch of people under the tent. And we were like, well, let's do some fetch, hold, and release. I know some people have issues. You guys want to come around? So we gathered around a table, pulled up some chairs, had our dogs in front of us. And you were just like, all right, grab a bumper. And we just did it. And I was like, oh, okay. Success. Okay. Take it out. Dead. Fetch. Present the bumper to him. He just took to it. I was like, okay, I could do this. So it was a confidence thing as a handler more than it was for him. Making sure he opened his mouth appropriately or just reading his cues and understanding how to read those cues and building off that. So maybe he holds on to it for a second or two. Reward him. He did it. Didn't have to be for 5 minutes here, but it's 2-3 seconds. That's building from 0. Then that 2 seconds becomes 10 seconds of holding it, or just opening his mouth more to receive the bumper. So understanding those incremental gains in the process of fetch, hold, and release, I was like, oh, this is easy. Once I understood it well enough, but sitting in my basement, just like having a stare down with him holding a bumper, we were just staring. Like, okay. And he didn't know what he was supposed to do. I didn't know what to tell him, that it was just like a weird, awkward stare down where I would be like, open your mouth and everything. And it just got awkward. And I'd be like, okay, this isn't working. And I don't know how to change this yet. But I think it was like a couple weeks after that, we came to Members Weekend. And we had that little session. After that, we were off to the races. So fetch, hold, and release was probably my first struggle point. I think that was more so me than him, because once I understood how to teach it, he knocked it out of the park. The second round was whistle sits, where I don't think I understood how to get him to stop. So I was chasing him and running at him, or whistle sit, pulling a leash. Then I just slowed down. I was like, okay, let's do it together. Let's heel. Boop. Sit. Pause. Okay, let's speed up. Boop. Sit. All right. Now let's work it backwards. And then we just slowly work through that. So for anybody that is hitting one of those obstacles, I'd say slow down, look at your approach, look at what your dog's reaction is, change that approach, always ask for help. If you're stuck, ask the Cornerstone community for assistance, or post a video. A lot of times we'll see something that you don't at that time. So I think that helped too.
100%. That's awesome. So I think what you said probably resonates with a lot of people, is they're like this stare down session. We're looking at this dog. It's looking at me. It's like, I want you to do this. But the key word used there was incremental success.
Yes.
I think one of the biggest mistakes we all make, and I even make myself, even if you've done it a lot, is we always want more than the dog's willing to give at times.
Mm-hmm.
So getting that incremental success, those small wins, less than what we want, but it's what the dog can do well. The more you do that, it's counterintuitive. The more you do that, the faster it works. The less you do that, the more you try to push to stretch it, the slower your training goes. Yeah. And it seems like the opposite would be the case. But it's I think what you just said probably encouraged a lot of people, knowing that, oh, it wasn't as big of a deal. Sometimes we get this idea in our mind that's like, oh, this is going to be hard. This is going to be real hard, you know. A lot of times it's not as hard as we think once we get into it.
Yes.
But sometimes it can just be a mental block. And maybe it seems like you busted through that mental block at Member Weekend, which is cool to see.
It definitely was. And, it takes a lot of reps for mastery, and just to get incremental steps of like a little bit at a time. It could be the same with any of the principles, whether you're running a blind and it starts with 10 yards, getting confidence of the dog running towards your white pole, all the way through months and years later, you just send them on a line 200 yards down a hill, and they just take a straight line, pick it up. You're like, huh. I don't think we all give ourselves enough credit for that either, of starting with this dog who was just like staring at this random white pole in a field going, so what do you want me to do? All the way through just like an invisible horizon saying, go that way. And they just take it. So
it's pretty incredible.
It's good to look back and just remind yourself how far you've come. And that's what's really
I think
fun.
that's pretty important too, because if you get too frustrated, you're going to slow yourself down. And I think what people at times fail to realize, because you're doing this every day, progress and success don't seem as big as it really is. Like you said, if you don't look back and actually document and look how far you've actually come, you may have made just a little bit of progress from yesterday to the next day, and then you took a big step back the following day, and you feel like that's the end of the world. But in reality, you've been training 20 weeks now, and you look back and say, oh man, we've basically have transformed this dog into an obedient family companion that's now learning to retrieve. And that's a pretty big feat.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big feat.
First and foremost, like at least Ted and many other CJ dogs are family dogs first. So yeah, you want an obedience, a very obedient family dog that can retrieve. If you were just a retrieving dog that can be a family dog, it goes the other way, and then you get yourself in some trouble, and your wives are wondering why this dog's bouncing all around. So I continue to harp on. That's what I love about CJ. It builds these well-rounded dogs. A couple weeks ago, right after Christmas, I took the family down to the Bass Pro Mecca in Springfield, Missouri. And Ted was walking around with me. And there was a worker who looked down. He's like, "That dog's special." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, thank you." He's like, "No. Like the way he looks at you guys, the way he just walks, he's part of the family." And he's like, "I see a lot of dogs in here. They're all over the place, but that dog, he recognizes that he's part of the family. He goes with you. He looks at you. He stops with you." I go, "Well, thank you, sir." It's like, guy looks more, and I was like, "Yeah, well, I trained him myself. Like, he's my best friend. He comes everywhere with me." He's like, "Oh, that's cool, man. I'm glad you got yourself a special dog." And I was like, "Okay, well, thank you." Then a little bit later, I realized, oh, I do have a special dog. That like a guy who sees hundreds of dogs every day or in the week recognizes that this dog, healing with me, walking with me, looking around, like being attentive to me and my family, is something special. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. Because then a week or two later, we could go hit the field, pick up a bunch of geese, be a monster in the field, and then come back home and just relax with us. That's
Wow,
of course, John. It's able to make me do that.
man. That's so cool, man. And that's what we all want. And that's what anybody can have if they put in the work. I mean, one of the big things is, man, you've put in the work. You got out there and you got it done. And that's a big part of the battle is, I mean, I believe success is inevitable if you don't quit. If you just keep going and you keep putting in the reps.
Yeah.
And there's different mindsets on that. You know, people think differently. Some think that, and I encourage our people to think differently. Think about as you're going through, like, you're going to win. It's not a matter of if you're going to win. It's just a matter of when.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start thinking from that mentality, it does change things. I don't know. I have found that has made things easier for me when I'm training dogs because it doesn't look like you're a winner on a lot of days. It looks like don't know what
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about a lot of days. But if you just keep at it, then things turn around. It's like, oh, all of a sudden, like you said, man, how's this dog? How is it this good? 200-yard retrieves are nothing. It's just super consistent. They're
Mm-hmm.
crushing it every time. But it was all those days of putting in that work and trusting the process that makes it work.
It's one session at a time, day by day, week by
Yep.
week. I mean, you can't look at it at 52 weeks or 2-year process. It's 1 week at a time, one session at a time, one retrieve at a time, just making sure we're continually growing their skill set, mastery, and sticking with it. Because at the end, you're going to have a phenomenal retriever.
Let's get in now that we've kind of talked to some of this
Yeah.
and we're talking about success and winning. Let's get into your experience in the hunt test game because you've
Oh,
kind of got
yes.
after that. So
Yeah.
let's open that can of worms, man. Tell me about it. Tell me your first experience, and then let's go from there. I'm excited to hear your journey.
Man, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know if Ted was any good. I didn't even know if he'd pick up a bird. I don't think we have done many like real bird retrieves. I think I like poked around at the retriever club and was like, "Oh, let me try this." He sniffed a bird, ran away. So I ended up getting the Dawkins out and they hand threw him. He retrieved him. I'm like, "Okay, you're doing all right. Okay, we'll figure it out." And then the retriever club, the next one just east of us in Illinois, had a weekend test. So I emailed in. I was like, "Hey, is there still availability? Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, but like, can I just try it one day?" She's like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. Come by." So I showed up at RU with like $60 in cash. And the head secretary was like, "Okay, are you coming back tomorrow?" And I was like, I don't know yet. We'll see how today goes. I don't know if he's going to do any, and I don't know if he's going to be any good." She's like, "Okay, well, good luck." Just trying to like cheer me up. Um, so driving up to the test, all these other dogs and all these trailers and everything. I'm like, okay, what am I in for here? And then I had the nicest,
That's a different world.
nicest judge, Bev Amelung. She passed last year. But if you had the quintessential, just like grandma, she's like 5'4", white hair, just welcome everyone to the RU started hunt test. We're so happy you're here today. I was like, okay, just cheer me on. And like, I just feel so welcome. And then, you hold your dog and start it. I run HRCH. And bird launches. He kind of leans forward and then is steady. And I just let go, say his name. He picks up the first bird. I was like, all right, we're there. And he comes back. I line up for the second one. I let go. I say his name. He takes a couple steps forward, looks back at me. I'm like, Ted. Ted, boom, he races out there like he wasn't sure. He comes back, and he got to the bird in the area in like, small grass. And then he's just like sniffing it, playing with it, like pawing at it. Then he rolls. I'm like, oh no, what is this dog doing? What is this dog doing? So boop, 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 here, just trying to stay positive. Picks it up, brings it to me. I think, yeah. Then he drops it, but I was able to like catch it because it doesn't have to deliver to hand; it's delivered to the area. So the judges are like, can we see that bird? Can he? Did he chew it? I was like, no, I think he was just playing with it. So I passed it back the bird to the judges, and they're like,
It's
all right,
awesome.
well, make sure he picks it and perceives the area of the fall, picks it up, returns back. Use their judges' language. I'm like, okay. So in the water, similar thing. Bird launches. He looks back at me, then just goes. He swims to it, does like 2 laps around it. I was like, okay, what the heck is going on? But he picks it up, brings it back to me. Similar thing. So the judges are the banquet at the end of the night, handing out ribbons. Bev, the sweet little judge, is like, you guys did so good today. Get all close to me. I better see you back here tomorrow. And I was like, okay. Yes, ma'am. I'll be back. So Sunday morning, got up, had my $60 in cash, paid, and did it again. And I was like, all right, we can do this. And slowly, little by little, we just kept showing up, growing skills. And I think like, all right, this dog can do it. I think like leaving that weekend, I said, all right, I think we're going to keep chasing this. He understands the concepts, but I think he wants more and I think I can give him more. So then we just kept training. We learned, how to do the walk-ups for seasoned, using the upland drill in the CGA where you walk, use your hand launcher, stay to your shot, pick it up, bring it back. Run our water retrieves, and then it kind of became fun. That was before we started having any kids. So like I would go drive to Nashville, run that hunt test. I'd go to Northern Illinois. I'd go to Southern Missouri. We're like, it's kind of the fun thing to do. We travel, meet new friends, see how other people trained. What tips and tricks do they have? How are they running? So we were 100% on hunt tests through seasoned, which most people in HRC said like is the hardest one, or there's just so many mechanics to test between the walk up, the diversion, your water blind, your land blind, your 2 marks. But we just kept passing these tests, excelling at them at times. Like, okay, is this all that's expected of us? So we just kept knocking it through. And then it was like, all right, it's time to run finished. This is the big boy test. All right. And similar thing. We just kept succeeding. There was a little hiccup in there where I made Ted fail because I failed, which disqualified him. There may have not have been a gun safety violation in there, which I still object to for shouldering the gun. But that was our first loss. And when I say like I beat myself up, like we had a perfect record going through our 3rd pass at finished. Oh, I beat myself up so hard about it because it was like he showed up, he did what he was supposed to. I was on the honor bucket. I didn't shoulder the shotgun. Apparently, I still a little sore about that, so I got dropped. It was an honor bird. He said I had a little low. I didn't shoulder it. That's all right. So that was kind of another turning point where it's like this dog does everything right, and it was on me. So I beat myself up about that. And now we've continually just continue to run finish tests, try new concepts, run longer blinds, bigger marks, and just continue running the HRC. I've kind of got bit by the bug, or now I'm the vice president of Gateway HRC, organizing different meetups and travel trips and all sorts of fun in the HRC world. Attend the national meetings, usually here in St. Louis, to meet other club presidents or just try and guide the future of HRC. It's been a really fun organization. Really engage folks who are for hunters by hunters. So we try and set up very hunting like setups. So I guess it was fall of 24. The International Grand was here in St. Louis. So I was able to help facilitate that, run Ted on some of those setups. It is fun, like it'd be like an average golfer going and playing the Masters. You may not hit par, but you're going to learn a thing or two about your dog or challenge yourself. That's really what it comes down to, is really challenging yourself or challenging the setups or what you think is possible. It made me learn the Grand is a lot more approachable than you might think. The setups are challenging, yes, but it's the scoring system that'll drop you. Like me and Ted could have,
Yeah.
if we ran like a weekend test where you have a little bit more leadway on your marks and blinds, we could pass. They're bigger setups. Blinds are a little tighter to marks, but we made it through all the test setups, just allowing the judge to see like what concepts are the dogs being challenged by. So that made me go, this dog really gets this. He knows how to read stuff. He loves these hunt tests. So that's our next journey of seeing what some grand training may look like. A
Oh
lot of people
man,
think
that's gonna
these
be cool.
these hunt test dogs aren't good hunting dogs, but I think it's the opposite. It just extends my hunting season. Instead of shooting wild birds, I'm shooting with our cap guns, fake birds, but it allows us just to keep practicing. Just like shooting a skeet league in the summer to keep your shooting skills up, I run hunt tests for my dogs. And allowing other people to have success. And now I'm on the other side of the training journey. I'm allowing myself to help other people, meet with them and say, all right, let me set up this mark, this blind. Let's do some obedience. Where's your dog at? What are they struggling with? Have you heard this suggestion? So that started with the HRC and now into the St. Louis chapter. That's kind of allowed us to expand into that realm too.
Yeah, we'll dive into the chapter here in just a second. I do have a couple of questions on
Yeah.
the hunt test. So I've seen this question from a lot of people. So you found really good success with it, and even with the module series, not even the 52 plus. There's I don't know, what do we want to call it, stigmatism, a general consensus of people that haven't used Cornerstone that want to say, hey, these Cornerstone dogs aren't going to do good in tests. Tell me about your experience with that, because clearly you've done well. Did you need to do anything different? How did you find your success, or would you credit it to the foundation? I mean, what's the story there? Because you have real experience with it. And that's the one thing that gets me.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people dog it that have never even, or they're not even in our system. I'm like,
Correct.
Who is this person? They've never been in the system. They've never seen a video from us unless it's been on Facebook or YouTube. But you've experienced it personally. So what's the story there with Test and Cornerstone?
I think they just merged together because Cornerstone being a hunting dog program, we don't model ourselves. Cornerstone isn't some field trial contest program. We're not doing anything crazy. It's for the hunter. Hunt tests, at least HRC, is for hunters by hunters. So they kind of merged together, from being honest. So marks are marks. How they're thrown is great. Blinds are blinds. Can your dog take a straight line, pick up a bird? Is your dog obedient? Can you walk from a holding blind to a chair well? Cornerstone dogs actually beat out most programs with that. It's just natural progression. We heel everywhere we go when we're training for CGA. I don't know. It's just something we do. Can your dog swing to the bird? Can your dog pick up a bird on the water and the length? It merges really well. And then, like I mentioned before, like the upland style hunt where we're walking, we use our hand launchers. That is the walk up in a season test. So if you have experience, if your dogging state is shot, healing, being released on their name, you just nailed one element of a season test. A diversion, how many times do you throw diversions just casually when you're training? They merge together so well, I would say, that there's no, I would say, additional training to get through finished level tests. If you can pick up 3 marks, run a water blind and a land blind, you can honor another dog, there's no reason why you couldn't pass a finished test with a Cornerstone program. When you get into the upper level national tests, there's some more complicated factors in there, but it's how your dog learns. There's modules on how your dog learns, how to introduce those principles to teach the dog for success there, and you're great. It's the layout of the test. Hunt tests are a game. That's really all that they are. So if you can train your dog for the game, it's fine. I don't think you necessarily need to do anything extra, but I think every Cornerstone member would find easy success in the hunt test game if they follow the program front to back.
Makes sense. That makes sense. I'm glad you cleared that up. That was,
Absolutely.
I know for a lot of people that are thinking about, should I do this? And then they hear someone out there that's talking, like I said, that hasn't experienced it. They're like, oh, I don't know if I can win. Like you said, you're going into it apprehensive, like, oh no, what's going to happen? And then it was fun. So that's, that's encouraging for people to hear, I believe.
And just try it out. It's a hunt test to know, like, is your dog capable of these skills? You can also just go to a weekend training and say, like, can my dog do these items? How's my dog act around other dogs? Your dogs probably act a little different when there's 10 or 12 other dogs around. Maybe they won't. And it's just figuring it out, testing it, challenging yourself and challenging the dog to new opportunities, and just finding new friends or just building skills and relationships with your dog. It's fun. I don't think people need to make it too serious, like, oh, you have a hunt test dog or you have a hunting dog, or there has to be so many walls in the hunting and retriever community. At the end of the day, we all have the same shared interest of hunting dogs. So let's build bridges, not fences.
Love it, man. Totally agree. That's awesome. Chapters. Let's get into that. That's something
Absolutely.
it's fairly new, not even a year in from Cornerstone yet.
Okay.
And you've kind of jumped in, man, and y'all have kind of got it rolling, and we're really getting ready to kick off. We've got our first leader summit, whatever you want to call it, happening pretty soon here next
Cool.
next week. So,
Okay.
man, tell me about chapters. What's been your experience so far? In the few little bit of time we've done it, I would love to hear some more.
So yeah, right as chapters were coming about, the idea, um, I think Chad Duckworth reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I know you're another Cornerstone member. Would you be interested in training together? I got this dog, Winnie. She's years of change old." I was like, "Absolutely." And then through my HRC club, Ryan Jenneman was in that. Um, and the first training day he came to, he had the British whistle, and I was like, "Are you a Cornerstone guy?" He's like, "Yeah. How'd you know?" I was like, "You're the only person. We're the only people who use that whistle." So the three of us um, started to meet and train together, and we were like, "Oh, we're creating the St. Louis chapter too." So with the page, we've started recruiting more people and having live calls just to share our experiences and get through struggles. Um, and it's fun because we are all on the same path of just improving dogs through the same, I guess, mindset and training platform. So we say, hey, go back to week 22 when you're going through this. Hey, watch this video when you're going through whatever it may be, running blinds, cold blinds. When you're going from your bucket drills to cold blinds, try that. So now that we're on the same sheet of music, per se, it's really fun to be able to compare and then just share trainings. So we've done, I think, 2 in-person trainings, the 3 of us. We're looking to get another one together this spring. We're kind of looking at what month would be best. And then we've done a couple of live calls now, a few new people that we've never even met hop on. We're like, heck yeah, tell us about yourself. Introduce yourself, your dog, where you are, what kind of places you hunt, what your experience has been, what your struggles are, what your successes are. So it's just a good way to just celebrate each other and celebrate our dogs. Um, we're definitely building a kind of excitement, I would say, that hopefully continues to grow in our area. Um, I'm excited for what chapters can be. I love getting together and training with other people, especially fellow Cornerstone members.
100%, man. Yeah, we're stoked about it and love seeing what you guys are doing. And we couldn't do it without people like you, the leaders and the teams that are coming together that are pulling this off. And like we've got a vision for it, and we could do it here, but we can't be where you guys are.
Yeah,
We're in Montana, I mean, we could like once a year or something like that here
yeah,
and there. But I mean, week out, day out, like we got to have people like y'all that do it. And so, um, and I like what you said earlier about, hey, I was training myself, but now I'm kind of a mentor, so to speak. I'm helping other
yeah.
people do it. And that's another thing, man, we're so fired up about chapters is just seeing people like you guys mentor others, help other people win. It's incredible to see.
But that's kind of been the biggest joy lately of allowing other people to have success, or I can learn something from them. whether that is obedience or it is a field skill, marks blinds, whatever it is. Watching other people run their dogs, you learn so much. Like I have a experience of one right now of well polished retriever, and he flew through some steps, and other stuff he struggled with, or it took us a few extra reps. And other people, it could be flipped. So just having that shared experience of how did you get through that, or seeing how they get through, um, pushing through cover was one. It was set up last time using hand launchers with each other, and there's dogs that just wouldn't push through cover. And I was like, all right, let's shorten it up, or maybe let's land directly in cover, the edge of cover. Um, and seeing how dogs kind of challenge some of those concepts. Ted, I think, always just ran through covers. I never had to think through that. Um, so seeing other people's experience and challenges gives me new perspective and gives me new knowledge to kind of bring forward to other members.
That's awesome, man. Well, Zach, I appreciate you for taking your time to be on this call and just share with other people. And I'm excited to see where everything goes. We
Me
got a
too.
lot to look forward to with chapters and all that's coming up. So really glad you're part of it. We got Member Week coming up, lots of good things.
Heck
But
yeah.
man, it's been incredible to see your journey. Like I said, from the first time I saw you and Ted to where you guys are at now is a transformation unlike any other. It's truly incredible to see how just the word all in is the
Yeah.
only way to say it.
Yeah.
You just jumped all in and man, you
Yeah.
got after it. And that's a testament to if you're willing to go all in, like
Yeah.
where you can get. Like y'all have done very well. You continue to do well. And I think it's a testament really to you, man. Of course, Ted's a good dog and of course he's got good breeding. But I think the testament really is you that you made it happen. You put in the work and then now you're enjoying the fruits of that. And it's
Okay.
it's incredible to see.
I could talk about Ted all day. I love that guy, and I love to be able to talk about Cornerstone and just the training methods and just the success we found. Um, I love it. I'm so grateful to be on here today and have the opportunity to talk about him and our journey.
Oh man, I appreciate you for being on. One last question for you, like we always like to ask. What would you say if you could talk to yourself when you were getting started? Is there anything you'd tell yourself? Like what's the one thing you'd say, hey, pay attention here, or you know, this is what you're gonna face, but don't sweat it, or something like that. What's the one thing you would say to yourself if you could go back and tell yourself something now when you were starting?
I'd probably say enjoy the journey. Don't sweat the small stuff. There's days where you want to just get so upset or train with your emotions, or you bring emotions home from work. Don't sweat the small stuff. Enjoy it. Dog training is fun. Enjoy the time with your dog, um, and just enjoy every moment because it's going to go by fast. It's been 6 years with him, and it feels like it's been 6 months. I don't know how the time has gone. So just enjoy every opportunity you can. Take them where you can. I would tell my younger self, just enjoy the journey. Absolutely.